everybody. Welcome to Impossible Live. Welcome if you're joining us for the first time. Welcome back if you're returning. For those of you who have celebrated the women in your world and the single dads recently, this amazing woman, Queen Chi, she's the whole reason for today's title. Who is the queen in your empire? I was delighted to meet her back in 2020, just before the pandemic started. And I need to tell you how real this amazing woman is, what talent she brings. It's New Year's Day, 2020, and I never joined summits, but the day after New Year's Day, I'm presenting in the same summit, Accelerate, and Queen Chi pops on my Note 4. I know I'm dating myself in my technology. We've got it propped up on the bed as I'm sipping champagne on New Year's Day slowly while my love is sipping coffee. And here comes this amazing, vibrant, beautiful woman on the screen. And I'm watching because next day's my day. You need to practice your tech, tighten up your presentations, cheer other people on a launch. And this amazing, beautiful, serene woman pops on the screen. And my love says, woo, she's good. So without further ado, I want to thank you and welcome you and thank you for joining us and let you introduce yourself to our audience today. Queen Chi, take it away. Let us listen to your gems.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to I Am Possible with Mel. Listen, I am honored and delighted to be able to be here with Melanie today because she is such a delight. Okay, she is amazing and awesome at the same time. And so, for me to be able to share this opportunity with her today, I am just super stoked. Like she said, I am Queen Chi. And I am a mental fitness, and emotional fluency and alignment coach. And that's why, like kind of fancy big words. What the heck does that even mean? Listen, I help get leaders together because nobody really looks at the leaders. We taking care of everyone else, doing everything, hashtag all the things a lot of times to make sure that things keep running. We are the go-to person holding space for everyone else, and we do not properly take care of ourselves. So what I do is I come in and I assist leaders. I equip them with the tools so that they are abundant and healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as financially. I'm also the founder and CEO of Throne Face Cosmetics, where we are not just a cosmetic company, but we are a movement. And our purpose and mission is to help you reclaim and cherish those everyday moments that you take for granted right now, such as preparation of washing your face and brushing your teeth and beautification processes and putting on makeup. We want to help you reclaim those moments by pouring into yourself with mental fitness and emotional affirmation so that before you go out there peopling in the world, okay, you are pouring into yourself and you are an overflowing vessel instead of a depleted cup. So thank you again. I'm excited to be here and I can't really wait to dive into this topic today.
Wow, I just really have to thank you. And what I love really is you are one of the first women in business who I've had the pleasure to meet and follow, who is really taking the empire part to the next level. And I think it's really cool because people always talk about how do we leverage things? How do you elevate? And the one thing you do is, man, you rise. You always rise up. What fuels that? What fuels
So for
that?
me personally, what fuels it is understanding my personal mandate, right? So a lot of people, they don't have this grandiose idea outside of themselves. They don't have a vision or a mission that does not include, getting a great job and making sure you're financially secure and that your children are taken care of, or living the American dream or whatever country you live in, that dream. But when you have a bigger purpose that's assigned to you and you understand that your voice has weight, you understand that the atmosphere that you carry should heal and transform people. When you understand that the person that you are is so powerful beyond measure, that you're not even able to be conceived completely and understandable by the human mind because you're just that complex. You carry yourself so differently. You show up differently in the world because you really understand that we are all connected and that we really do need one another. There is this saying that if you want to go fast, that you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, and I'm going to even add to that, if you want to go far and have lasting results that will impact generations to come, then you go together. And so what keeps me going is the fact that I understand that there is a woman, there is a child, there is a business, there is a team that is out there waiting for me to bring the resources that I am connected to, the knowledge base that I have, the fire that resides on the inside of me to unlock and unleash them into their greatest potential. So yeah, that lights my fire and keeps me going.
That is absolutely beautiful. I think the thing too, you're reminding us that somewhere in there, in that journey for self-awareness or for clarity, that you have something that I call divine timing. I It took me a while to really learn it and to really express it. And I think it's as a result of being surrounded by amazing human design coaches. I had to learn that my throat could get blocked up in the process of really expressing emotions when I tried to scale or to rise. But you're reminding us we're not just fueling us, we're helping others light their torches. We're helping inspire others, and that part of that showing up is to really light the way or light the path for somebody else, because we don't know where everybody is at. We don't know where our listeners are at. We're hoping this is a bright, shiny, wonderful day, but we don't know where sometimes. And I think that's one of the challenges. People encourage us to find our niche, and you don't always know where the person you're speaking with is on their path. But you're reminding us on your path, you're ready to light it up no matter where they are. And that, woo, uh, fantastic ownership, I think, of the responsibility of making it a better, brighter place for everybody to live.
And I want to tap into that because you tapped into like a few things that were key. So you talked about human design, which I am an advocate and fan of. And you talked about the tap into your niche, right? And so I'm a manifesting generator, right? And so with the coaches that I've had over the years, and they're saying, focus on the one thing and be great at the one thing. And I'm like, I'm multi-passionate and I have all these things that I want to do. And my brain says we're going to do this, and that all at the same time. And then you're having these experts who are telling you, no, it works best if you do it this way. But into my mind, that's authentic to me, that was just crazy. It was like chaotic and it was confusing to have to limit myself and put myself into this little bitty box and say, check mark, this is the only thing that I am. Now, I'm not saying it does not work. It does, right? It does work. And that is a misquote of that quote that they use, it's bad to be the jack or Jill of all trade, and then just you should be the master of, none. That is a misquotation. It's actually the opposite. That quotation is communicating that it's better to be the jack of or Jill of all trades, to have many multiple skills than to just be mastery of one thing. Because like we see things changing right now with technology AI, all this other stuff. If you only master that one thing, you are in trouble. Okay. So you better learn some different skills real quick. But I want to help the people who are pioneers out there. Like, listen, there is no blueprint because you haven't made it yet. You haven't done it yet. And so we have to tap in what feels in alignment with us, right? You can take bits and pieces of advice or things and strategy that work out in the marketplace because you need to get wise counsel. But at the end of the day, what does your intuition tell you? What does that voice on the inside of you that is authentic to you, your experience, and how you're supposed to show up in the world? What is that saying? Because it could be something completely contradictory to what the mainstream is teaching, what the gurus are doing, what the influencers say work, and all of that. Because somebody has to create those trends, those examples, right? Or else we would all just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So don't put yourself in the box. Okay. Today, I give you permission to go out there, be unlocked, be unleashed, do you how you feel authentic to you in alignment with you that also hurts none and is for the benefit of all. I want to throw that in there.
I love that. Don't put yourself in a box. I think what happens so many times, as you're saying, in the process of following thought leaders, following others who are like, here's the formula. And what you're reminding us of is that unique formula or recipe for us may not have been written yet. And I really appreciate that as somebody who, for years, really I've helped other people differentiate themselves. And at the same time, I was in really crowded industries. I remember being in promotional products,
Mhm.
and we were all reading the same two industry publications. And one of them told us how to name our business. It gave suggested names for men and suggested names for women. And what was interesting was our names actually matched that formula. So if we were women in gifts and incentives, we had the word promotions. Men had words like marketing, they had group, they had associates. And it was really kind of interesting how the naming kind of helped you drill down in your niche. And it kind of made us feel homogenized. And I'll say homogenized because it's the combination of you're a commodity and you're homogenized. And it kind of we were in little pegs kind of that they had placed. And I remember going to a thought leader, Cliff Quicksell. I love watching his presentations at Promotional Products Association International because he always talked about differentiation. What were you doing to not only up level, what were you doing to leverage, what were you doing to set yourself apart? And what were you doing to distinguish yourself? And I love that because you're reminding me of that part. That's the key to creating a legacy. And we forget that. We're sometimes afraid of stepping into that role. We're afraid of stepping into that light. But I love it because you're really reminding and helping me. I was terrified about the word scaling. And it's funny because scaling is in the name of my beta course, Creating Connections to Scale. And in that process of mental fitness and mental fitness and positive intelligence and the trust work, I think I'm now doing the shadow work I needed to really learn to scale. And human design helped with that too. But I think there's no roadmap necessarily or a legend for how you create an empire. What were some steps you took as a solopreneur to grow and start, finding team members or finding opportunities that you wanted to investigate? What were some of those steps, if you don't mind sharing, and they're not Queen Chi intellectual property?
Listen, you can have my intellectual property. I don't care because I am a creative and I am tapped into source. And so I am in the river and I will get something completely new just like that. So I do not care. But you talked about being afraid, right? Being afraid to step outside of the norm, step outside of the guidelines, color outside the lines, right? Because it really boils down to, are we going to be accepted? Are we going to be affirmed? Are they going to like it? Is this in alignment with the powers that be or the higher ups, right? And so I don't know if something just starts to happen to you when you get older. I hear that it does, and I am a witness that has happened to me. But I want to speak to you if you're younger, if you're in your 30s or your 20s or even your teens, that there's this perception that as you get older, that you just don't care. You don't care what people think. You don't care. And not that you want to be offensive or anything. Don't take it the wrong way, but you don't care and you don't no longer allow people, places, things, guidelines, rules, regulations necessary that do not serve you to be the highest expression of who you were called and created and designed to be, to affect you. And so you start to take things with a grain of salt. You start to be less offended. You start to be, less, what's the word I'm looking for? Invested in other people's opinion, because you get to the understanding that most people don't like their own life, right? They are miserable doing, all of these success things that they tell you you're supposed to do. And they got this great job, making 6, 7, 8 figures or running this company, but they have no me time. They have no family time. They are on 24/7, teams calling them all day and night. That is not a life that I desire to live and that they actually desire to live. So why would I be taking advice from you when you don't even like your own life? I don't want a recreation of that, right? And so I learned that if the person who is giving you the advice, the strategy, or whatever, I will pull from it what is valuable to me, what works for me. And this they call it, you chew up the meat and you spit out the bones. So you absorb and you take what is needed and necessary for you to move forward, for you to expand in your awareness, for you to grow, for you to ascend. And the rest of that, you leave it right there where it is, because like I said earlier, nobody can even comprehend the magnitude of the creation that is you. You are limitless in your possibilities. And so often we see this snapshot of somebody's life experiences and we define them by this little toot that we saw on the spectrum of their life. And we will hold that or hold them in those spaces if we're not careful and not allow them to grow beyond that. So I tell you, grow beyond it anyway. Like, they're not the boss of you. They're not your God. They're not your creator. They're not anything, if you think of it, not in that capacity. So get comfortable with yourself. Learn to love and appreciate yourself. Learn to value your thoughts, value your intuition, trust yourself. And once I began to vibrate and operate in that realm of understanding, of really loving myself, really respecting myself, really trusting the voice internally that is mine, trusting whether I'm in alignment, whether it feels good to me, whether, I like it, I want to do it or not. Like, so many times, another thing, we align ourselves to things that look good, that, benefits other people, but in your heart of hearts and your deep down stuff, you're like, I don't really want to do this. I really don't want to go to that. I really didn't want to volunteer for that. Don't. Don't do it. Because at the end of the day, you're taking up space and position that was placement for someone else who would have vitally enjoyed it, who would have gleaned from that moment, would have learned from that moment while you were taking it for granted and unappreciative of it because it was not in alignment with who you are and where you want to go. And so when I began to transition the way that I operate and move in my life and making sure that the things that I think and say and how I behave and even the people that are around me are in alignment with what I have determined that I want present in my life, where I see myself going in the future, the life, I am a big advocate of life design. So you can design your own life, right? And so does this play into alignment with the design that I have created? And if not, then you don't get to go. You don't get to, that thought don't get to participate. That person don't get to be in that space. And, so regulate, set up boundaries and regulations over your mind, over your emotions, over your time, over, who you're in relationship with, because it is so vitally important. And that goes into building your team. Who is in alignment with what you have set as the vision, the mission that you have determined where you're going, right? So if you are designing a car, you need wheels, you need a steering wheel, you need an engine. You're not going to go get, spokes for a bike that don't fit the vision, that doesn't fit what you're creating. So you want to pull into your life circle, into your days, into your moments, things that fit into alignment with what you have determined your success to be.
I love this because a lot of times too, and I loved you being here today and sharing these gems, but you reminded me of music. Reminded me, and I'm dating myself, a song many moons ago. Curtis Mayfield had a song about designing the makings of you. And one of my favorite songs in the movie Claudine. And back in that day, there weren't a lot of people who looked like us in movies. And this was one of the first movies that I had a chance to see as a kid with my mom and my aunt, which showed a
Oh,
woman who looked like us, you know, and a single mom kind of struggling through it at some point. But the reminder, as we're looking outside of ourselves and as we're redefining maybe who we are. And I love that because I've been in a alignment and a clarity lane for a bit now, and I'm grateful. And I really think it's because of starting on Possible Live. It's the reminder we're sometimes too close to what we're working on, and we're not really sure what we're aiming for, where we're going. You're reminding me to take the great care. And I was reminded today in a group I'm in with one of our upcoming guests, Lori Ostrovsky of Hudson Valley Women in Business. And Lori started today, the day after her bonus mom celebration, of asking, has your why changed? And I used to break it down in terms of questions, and Evoya Veda of Visibility Gym and Brand Your Dream will laugh at me because when she asked me to define my why, I said it's why with a question mark, it's why with a period, and it's why with an exclamation point. It's to remind me during the journey, keep shifting that lens, that vantage point as you're trying to mix stuff up and see what calls to you, because sometimes the stuff that calls to you, you're not raising your hand to invite it in. You're not raising your hand to complete an application. You're not moving towards a scholarship, a new direction. Sometimes you feel like a deer caught in headlights, and you're pausing. You're not really sure which direction to go in. And I think what Queen Chi is encouraging us to is keep tapping in to what's happening inside of us in our core. And I'm grateful, as you mentioned, about being a manifesting generator. I'm a manifester. What I laughed at was manifester is also called an alchemist. And my amazing coach Cheryl just sent me a brand link to take another archetype thing, and I laughed because it came back as alchemist. People are like, "What in the world you mean about alchemy?" I said, "Alchemy is, oh, I love inviting people in to come play with their ingredients. Let's mix it up in a safe place." And so you create magic, whether you're creating it in your business or you're creating it in your life. And I love that you're talking about our viewpoint as leaders. And in your case, you're also a busy mom working on this empire. How in the world do you juggle that?
I invite my kids in, right? So in the beginning, it was a struggle because as a mom, you want to separate things. You want to compartmentalize. You're the mom over here, so you do what you need to do for your kids. You're the wife over here or the husband, you do what you need to do for your family. You're the daughter, or in my case, because I'm the daughter, I'm the sister, because I have four younger siblings, and you're the best friend, and I am the safe space. I don't know if you could tell or not, but I am the safe space for everyone in my world, right? Which I thoroughly enjoy and appreciate, them being able to confide in me that way. So it was hard in the beginning because you're juggling all of these things and responsibilities. You're trying to keep it all straight. You don't want it to blend or touch, kind of like people who don't like their food to touch on the plate. Is the peas over here, the mashed potatoes over here, and the meat right here, and it has to stay separate or else they won't eat it. Okay. But I am a person, and I learned to do this in life, that mix it all up. Okay. I want to taste at Thanksgiving, I want to taste the yams with the greens and macaroni and cheese and a little bit of dressing all at the same time on the same fork. I'm gonna put it all in my mouth, okay? And I learned to do that in life. So a lot of times I've seen where kids will resent their parents because they were working to provide this best life experience that in their mind they think that they needed to do to make their kids have the advantage in the world and blah, 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 right? But the kids don't see that. They see that you're a neglectful parent because when they need you to be there or want you to be there, you can't, because you can't give them your complete attention because you're working, you're building, you're coaching, you're whatever, CEOing, you or whatever you do in your line of work, right? And you're missing all these milestones, all these life moments that you'll never be able to recapture. And I really got tired of that. I was like, I'm missing everything. Like, I have wanted to be a mom my entire life. And early on, I had a lot of miscarriages, so I wasn't even sure that I would be able to carry a child to full term. So when I finally was able to get these four precious babies, I'm working all the time, and I'm like, it's for their benefit. We got to pay for, private daycare, and we got to pay for sports and blah, 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 whatever. But I was missing real life moments, right? And when you're on your deathbed and when you get older, you're not thinking about, oh, I championed this cause at the job, or I was the best CEO, blah, blah, blah. No, you're thinking about family things like, was I present? Do they know that I love them? Do they know that I support them? Do they know, not all the sacrifices that I made, but that I'm here for you. I value you. I love you. I cherish you, right? And so I didn't feel like I was giving that experience into my children. So I learned to pull them in to the experience. This is why mommy is doing such and such and such and such. Let me teach you this aspect according to their interest. Okay, I don't force stuff on them. Listen, you need to be a graphic designer because I need these graphics. So you need to know. That's not what I'm saying. So according to their interests, their talents, their gift sets, right? I'll pull them in. I'll share this experience of entrepreneurship and building businesses, taking them to networking circles and conferences and events so they can see these different worlds of people, and it opens up their mind and perspective about what's actually possible. So, like I said, learn to mix it all up. Let the food touch, okay? Let life touch according to alignment that works best for you. Because how it touches and works in my life may not work for you. That's not your formula. So, whatever works for you in your formula with the dynamic of your family, then do that. But definitely invite your children into the experience. So not only do they expand, but you expand and grow as a family.
That is beautiful. You're reminding me as we prepare to celebrate for our niece is about to graduate from college. And at the same time, one of my nephews just passed his bar exam. So we'll have a chance finally in a couple of weeks to really, yep, celebrate and pause and celebrate. And I love what you're saying because I brought my niece a book about how she can emerge when she's ready in a workplace as a young woman who's kind of choosing her own beat and choosing her own rhythm and her own cadence. I remember when I graduated, I think my mom shared with me games mother never taught you. But I remembered in this case, I wanted to give her a book to think of the inclusive world that she's stepping into as she goes to med school and she wants to become, you know, uh, that National Institute of Health specialist who helps prevent infectious diseases from ever spreading over our planet again. And she wants to do it on her own terms. And I remember her as a young child that she always picked a very different lane for herself. And I'm really proud of that as an aunt, not just as a person who loves her in her life and watching this beautiful young woman grow as a dancer. She celebrated 21 by buying her first puppy. She didn't ask her parents. She said, I'm 21, I want a puppy. She learned senior year as the puppies in puppy school that it was like becoming a mom in her senior year, and she wasn't necessarily ready for that, but it's fun to watch her stretch through the the growth and explore, like you're saying, on her own terms. And I think part of it, like you're saying, gotta fuel, whether it's the drive or the interest or the ability to encourage them to just explore life on their own terms within the boundaries you're setting as parents, within the boundaries that teachers are establishing, within school or environments. But I love that you're creating some amazing explorers in your own house. It'll be like at 2, I jokingly said, listening to my niece, I said, she's going to be president one day. you know, she decided at 2 she wanted to be vegan. And her mom had to talk her out of this at 2. She's a vegetarian now in her 20s, but she now knows as a vegetarian, she got a little bit of flexibility over her ability to feed and sustain herself. What I love also, you've helped us paint a picture of being the master or the mistress of your empire, the queen or the king, of how you're gathering and marshaling the energies around you to feed this. And I love that you talked about how you help your clients do this to kind of really think out of the box. And I wrote down some Queen Chi quotes. I have to ask you too if I can add one to the course later. But the alignment part of all of this requires an incredible amount of energy in PQ and in mental fitness. I appreciate Nathan at Positive Intelligence headquarters because he helped me locate what I'm calling now sustained energy. It's can be really challenging, even if you're doing mental fitness exercises, even if you're in Mind Valley. How and where, besides your amazing self-care regimen, because you've got a great one, and you and I believe in naps, how do you fuel that part of creating a legacy and working towards an empire?
Um, Forgive yourself and others often, right?
Mm,
That's the first thing. Um, this perspective of gratitude. Like I have this saying that all things serve me. And I really wholeheartedly believe that. So I don't look at things when they appear in my awareness, show up in my life, what you would consider, oh, this is bad. Oh my God, this is a terrible experience, right? Not for me. For me, it's an opportunity for me to grow. It's an opportunity for me to stretch. It's an opportunity for me to come into a more alignment with the better person that I have said that I wanted to be. And you don't shift in comfort zones, right? Because we love comfort zones. They feel great. We're used to this. We're comfortable, right? And so it has to be these things that show up into our life that kind of shake us up, that kind of rattle us, that exposes the areas where we actually need to do all the hard work, where we actually need to ask ourselves the real life hard questions and answer them for ourselves if we're going to move forward, right? And so as things are showing up, they may not be comfortable, but I know at the end of the day, it all serves me and you. And when you have that perspective, you're like, okay, I completely, that seemed like I messed that up. Nailed it. Okay. And you're like, you can laugh at yourself. You could sit down, you can analyze from the perception of I want to see what happened. Where did the flow break down? Not from see what you did. You suck. No, 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 no. Anybody got time for that? We don't got time for it. We don't have time. You don't have time. Okay. Tell the mean girls, the mean boys that reside inside your head, shut up. Take many seats. We don't have time for it. Okay. Because when you do that, you are fundamentally tearing down what the creator of all the universe made. How dare you speak so ill of something so wonderful and fabulous? Don't do that. It's disrespectful. It's blasphemy for you to talk bad to yourself about yourself, okay? So understanding that from that perspective, when you're looking just for understanding, when you're looking just to see where the misalignment happened, then you can forgive yourself. You're like, it happened. You can forgive other people because you understand just like you mess up stuff all the time, guilty, all the time be messing up stuff. I'm telling you, nailed it. All right. I can extend grace to other people because just like I messed up, they messed up. And I don't know, for some reason in our mind, we think that we an anomaly. So when we mess up, it was all these reasons. They all valid or why you should not be upset that I messed up. Okay. But when you mess up, stop the presses. Halt everything. I cannot believe you had the audacity to mess up. How dare you clutch pearls, right? But it's like, if you really think about it, what we find so appalling and offensive that somebody else did, guess how many people find what you did appalling and offensive? Lots, many. So who are we to judge? We're all going through our learning and growth experience. So give grace, give mercy to yourself, to other people. Position your heart really in its place of gratitude. I talk about this in my TEDx talk, that there is no grateful victims. Those two cannot coexist in the same space. It's impossible. You cannot be both grateful and a victim. It don't work. So when you choose to root your heart in gratitude, you become so much more thankful and appreciative of people, places, things, experiences, understanding that they all serve you to be the highest expression of who you were called and created, designed to be.
I
So,
love that. Ah, see, I'm a journal girl, but I truly love your reminder about my gratitude journal. And thank you again. Welcome back, Lachelle. Hey, Queenie, warm welcome. Thank you for popping in. I think what happens sometimes, and I love that you mentioned your TEDx talk, because I think in our process of creating, our process of trying to show up as who we are, that sometimes underneath we can feel the butterflies, we can feel the angst, we can feel the I want this so bad, I can feel this kind of energy. And honestly, I don't think I had ever seen you nervous before. I was reminding, I love that laugh, because underneath it, the reality that there's so many different layers in this process of trying to create, or of trying to show up with an impact. And Lachelle, I know you'll say this. I loved your videos on Instagram of your beautiful Lachelle has 15 kids. I loved Lachelle's kids wishing her happy Mom's Day yesterday. And that reminds me, excuse my manners, because I had to give thanks to my ladies and the single dads yesterday. This is for those of you who may also have celebrated a day, a matriarch, a legacy, a guardian angel, someone you love who you're missing, someone you couldn't be. So truly, this is for you. I'm normally a toast and smiles across the miles girl. Took me a while to realize my aunties were the ones who always encouraged me to raise a glass. And I was delighted this weekend to have the honor to raise a very short glass with Pop this weekend. And it is hard to show up to honor those in our lives and in our world who are lighting our fires or lighting our paths. But I want to thank you, Queen G, for reminding us to keep showing up, to keep it going, whether it's for your children, your fur babies, your nephews, your nieces, your grandchildren. And what Queen Cheese reminded us is for ourselves, keep remembering to dream in full color, and not just in black and white, and to step outside of those lines. And Queen Chi, I know you've got great links so people can stay in touch that amazing Catherine's going to share. Is there anything else you want to leave us with as a takeaway today?
I just want to say, enjoy your journey, right? This is your experience, and you can make it whatever you desire it to be. And I know a lot of people like, oh, she must be one of them foo-foo chicks. No, let me tell you, I live real life, okay? Real life stuff be popping off all the time around here, okay? But again, having that heart rooted in gratitude, forgiveness, understanding, love, like really unconditionally loving yourself and unconditionally loving people without expectations, because people fall short, so do you. And it's okay. Because, like I said, we're all going through this journey called life, and there is no blueprint for this. It really isn't. So that's why you really have to learn yourself. You really, really have to learn yourself. It's so important to trust you, know you, listen to you, love you, spend time with you. A lot of y'all don't spend enough time with yourself. And so you just regurgitating foolishness that other people have told you and have been passed down through cultural norms and what you learned in school. And, I'm Black, so what you learned from your mama and them. And I want to leave you with this story that's going to make you think, because we did just have a holiday where you cook food or you go out to eat, whatever, right? So it's a story where it's 5 generations of women and they're preparing the Thanksgiving ham. And so they cut off the ends of the ham and they're, putting it all together. And the youngest of the generation asks her mom, why do we cut off the ends of the ham? And the mother says, I don't know. I do it because my mother did it. So those two go to the grandmother. And they ask the grandmother, "Grandmother, why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" And she says, "I don't know. I did it because my mother did it." So now the three of them go to the great grandmother. "Great grandmother, why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" She said, "Well, I don't know. I did it because my mother did it. Let's go ask." So they finally get to the source, the great 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 grandmother. And they ask her, "Why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" And she said, "Well, when I was, raising my family, the pot I had was too small. So I cut off the ends of the ham so that it fit in the pot for me to be able to cook it." Now, 5 generations later, they are throwing away good ham, okay? For no reason, because they did not understand why they were doing what they were doing. So I leave you with, learn and love yourself so much, so deeply, so intensely, that you know why you do what you do. You say what you say. You're with who you're with. You move how you move. You operate and show up for the people, places, things that you show up for, because they are truly in alignment with understanding of you.
Oh, I love that. And you're so reminding me. I haven't made a ham in a bit. We've got a 2-day ham. So now I have to add that to the grocery list. But for those of you who are vegan, like my Emma, and for those of you who have tuned in today to find a little spark, Queen Chi is joining us on LinkedIn recently because I begged her to come to Impossible Live. If you have a moment, follow this amazing woman. If not on LinkedIn, on YouTube or one of her other amazing platforms, to really hear her continue gems and tune in. If you're on Instagram and you need some makeup tips, Beautiful is there. Don't feel like she's not taking you on the plane when you see pictures of her and her kids on the plane. Do what I did. I just booked a vacation last week. Take the steps, create the space to celebrate the queens in your empire, celebrate yourself, celebrate life. But really, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for everybody who popped in live and to everybody who's popping in on replays on different platforms. Stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, and please stay in touch. And have an absolutely magnificent day. Thank you so much for joining us, Beautiful. Looking forward to joining you on Queen Chi's new airline that she should be founding shortly, because she'll have a private jet next.
I will. Actually looking into that.
That's it. I believe it. What? Go on.
Oh, I had created something very special for you guys. It's called the Coronation Kit. And it's a lot of things that we talked about today that's included. So it teaches you affirmations and meditation practice, PQing is in there, like building your life by design. So it's so many elements that we talked about today that's kind of put together in a kit for you that I want to give you as a gift. The link for that will pop up shortly today in my link tree thingy, and so you have access to that.
Thank you always for not just joining us for the first time on a LinkedIn Live, but for always bringing you and your beautiful gifts. And thank you so much. Have a magnificent day, everybody. Take great care. Be well.